And this was a great platform and a great opportunity to do this. So Kubamba, we started in August of 2000 as a Saturday night show. So I didn't have a weekday show. It was just a Saturday night show from 9 to midnight.
Yo.
And amazing things happen, man.
Are you still alone?
I'm still alone.
You are Kubamba.
I'm Kubamba. Yani, I carry everything, carry the decks. I hated the sound in the studio. So I used to go now with my monitors and my amplifier. And the place, man. Their days used to be so loud, everything blacks out in this. Everything goes off because of the power that's being consumed. But it was such a rewarding experience.
Did you feel the fruits of being there? Calls, man. Phone calls.
That was the perfect thing.
Time.
For young people calling, hey man, this is so and so. I want to say we love what it is that you're doing. We're here with as a whole crew. Many guys, bana, young people calling, giving their lives to Christ. There was nothing as more rewarding as that. Because I would do an altar call with every show. An altar call with every show, man. And guys used to give their lives to Christ and be like, if you've given your life to Christ, go ahead and let us know.
Let us be in you, yourself, and me, myself, and I.
I think Judy still was there to help me out, you know. But she never used to talk. So just give us a shout. Give us a shout. Let us know. Let us know. It was rewarding, man. Rewarding. Nothing. There's no finances that can be as rewarding as that.
How are you eating? Are you getting side gigs, weddings?
So the good thing is my mom didn't live far away from where I was. So financially I got a hit. And you know, my sister probably thought I was crazy because now we lost all finances. But she never gave me grief about not telling her that I was going to stop being a secular DJ. She didn't. She never raised it with me even one day.
She may not have understood it, but she trusted your work.
I think she did. She did, man. 100. So here we are. And
August 2000
August 2000, we start this thing. It's growing. Then now I finally get to meet Ollovar. We become tight. Now Ollovar is a dance crew, so they're happy. They've always wanted to have a DJ. So we start doing missions together. But something else that was happening at this exact time was there was some young DJ who'd just given his life to Jesus. And at this point, the whole concept of a gospel DJ was still non-existent. And he was like, listen, I'm a DJ, I've been playing secular music for as long as I can remember. Well, he'd been playing for a few years. And he's like, I've given my life to Jesus. And now I need to play gospel music, but I don't have a source. But then he heard about this guy called Oscar, who was the source of all this gospel music, because every couple of months he'd receive a dozen to a couple dozen CDs of all the new music. So this dude shows up to rehearsal once, and I shake his hand, and he's like, and I'm like, hey, Mugash, and I'm like, Mose, and I'm like, cool. And as Ollovar continued growing, we realized that we needed a DJ to go around with us to mix the music, because our dance sequences were becoming longer and longer, and we weren't restricting them to one song anymore. So from going to one choreography to one song, we're like, wait, we can use this same choreography on 15 other songs. So why don't we just have a DJ who'll play music and we'll call out to each other, let's do this sequence, and we'll do this sequence, and then we do leadership exercises where whoever was at the front, we became such a tight machine that whoever was at the front would pick up one move, and we knew, oh, that's the move we're doing, and we'd, do our moves like that. And that meant we could have a DJ playing from what we had was like 4 minutes, and you could have a DJ playing for 15 minutes, and the music wouldn't stop. And this DJ was this young dude who'd just gotten saved, who wanted to become a gospel DJ, and he had the desire and the skills and the equipment. Oscar had the music. So like, then why don't we start working together? Cool. So they started acting under Ollovar with this young DJ who happened to be DJ Moz. And that was the origin of DJ Moz.
And where would you go, for example, missions?
So missions...
What is missions at that time?
So missions, Ollovar had inroads to schools. And so the very first mission that I went with them for was to
Alliance Girls. And the door was opened by a good friend of ours called Peter Airo, who's still there till today. And we are still friends
Till today.
So...
Is it now 2001 or still...
This is 2000, man.
Still 2000.
This is 2000. So in this mission that we go to Alliance Girls, we go to Tao, and this guy comes and says, hey, you may not know me, man, but I like what it is that you're doing, and we're going for this mission together. Do you know who this dude is?
Njugush.
Njugush. It was so... Oh, man. It's amazing how God connects the dots. And so that December, this was actually towards the end of the year, because I think it was that December that Njugush started co-hosting with me Kubamba, and it was just a coincidence how he went on air, because he was not supposed to go on air without the permission of the station manager or the producer. He just stumbled into it. I was like, it was so weird. I was like, Njugush, just, I don't even know what the conversations were like, but I was like, you guys just go on air on the microphone. It actually feels good to have someone with me in the studio. And Njugush is one of the most gifted people, personalities, friendliest people I've ever come across.
This is when you got your first partner for
This is
Kubamba.
how I got my first partner as Kubamba. And how Njugush came into the studio was because, hey Baraka, that's my son, man. So how Njugush came to the studio was, I just joined Daystar University to study communication. He was like, Moz, listen, I've just joined Daystar University to study communication. Is it okay if I just help you carry your things upstairs? Whenever we go to the studio, let me help you set up. So Njugush was my hands-on Jama, carrying my decks and things
As
like
your
that.
KYM.
Basically.
Yes.
But he was also my good friend. We became very good friends.
But also, again, his ask opened up opportunities for him.
100.
If that's such a lesson there. If you're not willing to start with whatever, look at it now. You need your partners.
And the things that we've been able to do together.
We'll get into that. I don't even want to rush this story. So you guys, Ollovar, how is it going to schools now? Because now this is new. This is you as a DJ before. You're not going to schools.
No. So finally now I have an opportunity to go for a mission. These same guys that we've been connecting with on radio, finally a reality now. We can be with them where they are in school. Because I think the question we always ask ourselves was, how do we get to where the young people are? And so the natural place was in the high schools.
Yep.
So an opportunity now has come for us to go to Bush Girls. So we went to Bush Girls during their challenge weekend. We were given a Saturday. So we had breakout sessions. This is all new to me now. I've never been in this space. So we go to Bush
You are
Girls.
not in CU and you are in high school.
I never wanted anything to do with guys of CU. They were church guys. And it didn't help that our head boy was the chairman of CU.
That's even us.
And this guy was alikuwa mtiaji the end. Anyway, we ended up going to the same church at Mamlaka together. So we go to Bush Girls, and now I'm seeing a whole different way of doing ministry. So the girls are divided into small groups. Ollovar had both Jamas and chicks, all very fresh, very vibrant. All choppies.
Tell us some of the people who are there.
Huh? So there was Dan, together with his brother Ian. Ian was one of the judges of Sakata. There's Mugash. This Mugash was a big actor. Have you done something with Mugash?
Yeah, but in fact, he talks about Ollovar.
Dude, Mugash was there. The lady called Joyce. There's Linda. Kanye. Call her Kanye West. Kanye. Because I think her hood was in Nairobi West. But so there's Kanye. There's Sophie. Oh man, there was so many, bro.
So many. Ollovar.
Sorry guys if I've forgotten your names.
This was 2000.
This is part of the moment, Bana.
So, but then give me this is 20 years ago.
This 20 years ago.
Yo, dance groups. Now we have 1,000 dance groups. We have dance competitions.
This is like the first gospel dance crew.
There are many fasts for gospel at this time. From a youth culture perspective.
Yes, from a youth culture. They dance to hip hop, coming up with brand new moves. These guys used to go to Arboretum every day, every weekday, faithfully, kupiga tizi. And there was no gig at the end of it. I have no idea where they used to get their energy. But probably maybe they used to go for missions. But my first experience with them to go for a mission was at bush girls.
Uh-huh.
And so when we were there, I saw the girls being divided into small groups. And so basically in the small groups, they were asking questions and answering questions, you know. And in the afternoon when you went to DJ, there was a power blackout. So I couldn't even DJ, bana. And that happened like 3 times in a row whenever I went back to Alliance Girls.
Yeah.
But for Ollovar, think about it this way. I'm there now with my sound system. So we have a sound system, they have a DJ. You know, we have rehearsed for sets, so they know what music is going to come. Tuanzia hapa, twende hapa. So we'd all do the knit together.
It was
the set together for how the songs are going to flow. You get? So, and then we don't have power. But these guys, they didn't care that they didn't have power. One of the guys would play a keyboard, and the guys would do the same routines, and we would still share the gospel, and students would still give their lives to Christ.
Because that was the aim at the end of the day.
That's what took us to the school. So that happened. Then went to a couple of other schools, like private schools like this. I think private schools were very open to having us there.
So at this time, Kenyan system schools, this was new for them.
This is new for them.
They're not as open as it is right now when everybody's doing missions.
No. But you know who one of the people who I got to meet in the high school missions whenever we went there? And Nimboro's wife, Bella.
Bella. Where was Bella?
So Bella was in a private school in South B. I can't remember what it was called. That's the first time that I met her. And then she came and she was part of Ollovar. So, and Bella, you know, we became very good friends, man. And that's Andy, big shout out to you, man.
You introduced me to Bella when Chillage at the village.
Yes.
She just flown back in. So let's I'm trying to understand youth ministry at this time, because youth ministry is something that people do now.
Yeah.
So even when you've talked about breakout groups, I'm like, breakout groups during when it's not just music playing all the time.
This is in 2000 and was very effective, man.
It was effective now to the schools. I mean, even to the young guys.
Even to very rare, because now we can sit down and talk about life.
So your sessions weren't just music playing and dancing.
No.
The opportunities of the word. Would you go with the pastor?
Yes.
Or it was you young guys?
It was us guys.
Young guys ministering to young guys.
Oh man, Ollovar had very fresh guys who, I mean, Akina Mugash and Akina Ian and Oscar, they could all break down the word very simply for people to be able to understand. Even the girls, Akina Kanye, you know, Akina Sophie, they would all break it down in such an easy way for the students to be able to understand it. And it wasn't by, you know, the ones for Bible thumping, no.
Yes.
It was just simple, practical application of scripture.
Oscar was determined that we wouldn't go in a similar direction, that we wouldn't fall off the gospel path. So
there was a lot of ministry too.
Dance came second, ministry was first.
I hear it.
Yeah, ministry was the first thing.
That's crazy. That's your core.
Yeah.
Your core wasn't to go there to entertain and sell CDs.
Nah.
Fuck, you didn't even sell
We
CDs.
didn't even have CDs to sell. That's how with you.
Don't get me into drama.
So keep peddling his CDs, close your eyes. I'll show you something, man.
Yeah, but even how I started doing that was crazy. I started by giving people who would cry in the audience. The reason that's why I would give CDs.
Yeah, man.
So the reason why I started selling CDs is because guys would be like, listen, I'll pay 50 bob for it. I'm like, what do you mean you're going to pay? So my performance CD, remember, I'd always come until you give me my performance CD.
Yeah.
And I would remember that this person was crying when I was performing, and I'd give them.
Because you do dope jams like Close Your Eyes.
And that's even where singles came. Because singles came.
Yeah. You introduced singles here.
Yes, because when I was on stage, guys would be crying and I didn't have money. So I'd give the one who's crying. Then I said, I would have bought that for 50 bob. So I said, okay. If these guys can give me many 50 bobs, those are emissions I can buy, put a sticker.
Oh yeah.
And just Close Your Eyes. Anyway, back to you. I want us to just touch a little bit about this high school ministry. Why did you guys have money to go to these schools?
I don't even know how it happened, bro. Because now you go to a place where I didn't have tunes. I don't even know how Ollovar would do it, but I'd see Timo. Now as you're talking, I can see Timo from Ollovar coming with like a small blue car. Probably it was Akina. It was not Akina Bella's. It was Akina Wamboi's small ride, like a blue one, coming to pick me up from Feather. I'd moved from Kangemi now to go to Feather. That's a story for another day. They come pick me up from Feather with the sound system. Dude, this is like a Daihatsu Charade. Those two small ones.
Yes.
It has to carry this huge subwoofer, 2 tops, the deck inside and dudes inside still. Go for the missions. You know, but I don't know how the resources came, because I didn't have money at that time. I could not contribute to making the missions happen. Remember, I'm working on radio, but I'm not getting anything at the end of the day. I think I had to rely on my my parents quite some to come through for to give me tunes so I can go ahead and meet my rent and things like that.
But you still want to just go and spread the gospel?
Bro, there's no plan B. God said I'll take care of you, man. So whether it meant I wouldn't have cash, but I have a place to sleep, I have clothes to wear, I have food to eat, I have a roof over my head. We had a nice 4-bedroom house in Feather Estate, man, with an SQ and a compound.
Yo.
Dude, there was no month I went without paying rent.
But there was days that you had no money.
But I still had food.
And you had the shelter.
Yeah.
So he provided, he just didn't give you cash.
He just didn't give me cash. He'd provide clothes in some of the most interesting ways. One time Kanji and Milele came into the country and we did a gig together with Milele at that time. They were so fresh. Everyone, it was like the boy band in the gospel circles, man. So it was just them and a group called, these guys for Okelia Moko.
Sita?
No, Okelia. The name just slipped my mind. I'll tell you, Akina RK had a group.
Yes, Shama,
that's it. So they were the only two groups that we had at that time. Sita was there, but I think they were still in college, if I'm not wrong. But Shama and Milelo were like the two biggest groups, man. So Kanji came in the country and man, he was like the funkiest dude. He had a ponytail right here. And he had all these clothes, Fat Farms. And Fat Farm was like the in thing at that time, Pele. So before he left the country, after we did that gig, he was like, come to my house, man. And he gave me all his clothes.
What?
They were all oversized, but he didn't care.
You're wearing...
He gave me Fat Farm kicks, Fat Farm tops, as in he hooked me up a good one. Cabaret was another guy. Cabaret is in...
Okay, in fact, let's talk about the introduction of this. There's too much to your story, and even if it means we continue another day, we will. But I don't want us to cut the process.
Yeah.
Because your journey is too important. It needs to be documented.
We can come up to Kina Cabaret.
Okay, so 2000, anything else that happens in 2000?
So in 2000, basically, people started getting to appreciate the gospel music more. And...
It stopped being a novelty and became, okay, now we have gospel music for young guys.
Yes.
That is available, but it's only available from this time to this time.
Just on Saturday nights.
Yeah. And you're still getting your music from Oscars.
Yeah, so Oscar but then also TuneIn would start bringing in single, like a couple of more urban gospel. And so I remember, I don't even know where I used to get the money from. This is the crazy thing. Like I would go buy an album for 1,200. They used to sell an album for 1,200 shillings. An album for 1,200 shillings. These ones that we are buying now for 200 shillings from guys here. So I'd go buy an album for 1,200 shillings because of one R&B song. One. Like I go sample the whole album on their Walkmans.
Yes.
Listen to their Walkmans and sample, go
the
through
Discmans.
And be like, oh man, Tarelyn Ramsey. She has this song over here. It's good because it sounds dope and young people relate to it, so I'll buy it.
Moz, what were you listening to? When you said, I love what you've just said, because now you're talking about the DJ aspect of playing a good song. Mm-hmm. We're talking technical here. Yeah. So what were you looking for in terms from a gospel perspective? Because there may be a gospel musician right now upcoming. What is it that you were looking for that made you buy that one CD because of one song?
Please note I've come from a secular world. Mm-hmm. So the quality there is insane. I just basically apply the same principles as a believer. Mm-hmm. So what will young people appreciate if we play for them? Let's listen to the beats first, because the beats welcome you first. Mm-hmm. How is the production of how are the beats? Oh, the beats are catchy. Oh, that's dope, man. Mm-hmm. That's number one. Then the second one was now, how's the person singing? Does she sound good or does he sound good? How's the rap? Is it
the
good?
Melodies,
are they corny? So that's what I used to look at. And then, will young people connect with this jam? Yeah, this is a dope jam, and I think young people will appreciate it, Bana. So I'd go ahead and buy an album for one song, 1,200 shillings. And now, you know, all these young DJs have come, you'll just come with a hard disk. Come with a 2 terabyte hard disk and be like, sinieke mziki yako hapa hivi.
Hey, Moz, you umefanya wax, Moz, asante.
You know,
you see what I mean? You see what I mean when I talk about sacrifice, Moz? Are you understanding what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So don't tell me you haven't sacrificed.
I hear you, because I would not go spend that money on pizzas when I know that there's a CD I need because people need to hear this song.
Man.
And I was okay with it, man. So most of this music that guys have today, it was music that a lot was sacrificed for us to be able to get.
Yo, thank you, Moz, man. Because that music has then gone to transform and touch people's lives,
man.
encourage them when they were low. And I'm not speaking about Christians, I'm saying people, human beings out there.
Both Christians and unbelievers.
Yeah. Let's continue this story. Imagine we're only in 2000. That's why I'm like, I'm feeling, okay, 2001.
So 2001, a beautiful thing that happened for us was Jugush went to Metro FM just like that. And
you and Jugush now have you told him you're in Kubamba?
We're doing the show together now.
Okay.
You know, and people have said, and even Oscar. So the three of us now, Oscar started coming for the radio show as well. So now people start calling us the Kubamba crew.
K-Krew.
K-Krew. They shortened it. It's not even us. The audience shortened it. Hey, K-Krew, man, we love what you guys are doing. And of course now our tagline was, of course, yeah, we are representing Christ Jesus to the fullest.
No doubt.
No doubt. So it's dark, man. So guys start calling us the Kubamba crew, the K-Krew. So in Jugush, I think in January of 2001, after we did the gig with Milele, he went to Metro FM.
January 2001, you did a gig with Milele, not December?
In January 2001.
Because I remember crossing over as an unsaved guy, a gig.
Let me fast forward it. It was 2002. So Jugush must have become more of a regular in 2001.
On Kubamba.
And Oscar as well.
Family.
I had the confidence now of bringing them on. I think the bosses stopped paying attention to my show.
Yes.
You know, and I was more focusing. Richie is the one who'd hold me accountable to what I'm doing with the radio show. And so Jugush and Oscar had the confidence of being able to put them on air more. You know, after Jugush was there, then it was easier for me to invite Oscar. Then people started calling us the Kubamba crew, K-Krew. So
and were you interviewing musicians at this time?
Now I started interviewing musicians now.
Who are some of those musicians?
So,
let's talk about those
Dr.
guys.
Rekebisha, Julian, together with Innovator, had a group called Born Twice. They were like the freshest crew around. So it was Julian, Tim Rimbui, Julian Masharia, and then there was a chick in the group, MCLC.
MCLC was in Born Twice?
Yes.
I never knew that.
She did a cool jam called I'm a Virgin. I'm a Virgin. Ding,
she was
ding.
in that song?
She was the song. Her, Innovator, and
Julian
Dr. Rekebisha,
yeah.
Tim Rimbui, Julian Masharia, great producers, man.
And what about the other group that LC was in?
I don't know about the other group that LC was in, but
with
I remember
Big Ted, all those guys, you never knew them?
No, because I was not a believer at that point.
Oh, I get.
I was not in that space, so Big Ted, come back home. I think you are home.
So okay, what? So okay, which other? So I remember that
man,
Virgin song.
If you're going to take me to another place, man.
No, let's go there, man.
So
because I want us to understand local Kenyan music.
So Born Twice. So Born Twice were there with great. So I finally got Born Twice in 2000.
Please tell me you have Virgin. I've looked for that song.
I have it.
Oh, sweet.
So
sweet.
So MCLC, Julian and Tim Rimbui. So they're called Born Twice. Great music, man. These are young people in their teens. They're producing their own music. Even though they're not getting platforms, I was very happy to start playing their music. In 2000, I think, in one or maybe 2002, Julian did a whole album. It has a great song like Million Supus. It's like a million supus in the CBD, and like a million supus that my eyes can see.
Moz, you're an archive.
He used to call them lales. Chicks.
Have you chucked Virgin at this time?
No. It's leading up to that.
Okay.
So Julian, like, let's do an EP of songs. There was a gospel radio station called Family, I think I just opened then. And then DJ Moz, who've been meeting at events, is the guy who's made head of radio. So again, relationships. The guy you guys have been bumping with is now made the head of radio or whatever, him and Jugush at Family. So that means we can put out whatever nonsense we want and we'll get onto radio. That's when I learned the importance of radio for distribution. From performing at gigs, guys knew now Born Twice. And it's so funny, like it was just, and it wasn't that a deal that was struck in a temple in the night. It's just like, you guys, there's no gospel music happening.
Hey buddy, regarde moi ces femmes là. Qu'est-ce qu'elles sont belles. Ça m'a fait... Je ne sais pas, c'est trop.
Yo, this is twice. I told you so. There's like a million supus in the CBD, and like a million supus that my eyes could see. A million supus who would go out with me, only a few supus with the man JC. A million supus in the CBD, and like a million supus that my eyes could see. A million supus who would go out with me, only a few supus with the man JC. I was chilling for my 3 down at Ambassador. No stones in my pocket, not even a mega rider. I can't take the shuttle, cause that's for Babylaz. I feel like buying fries, but I'm too far from Topaz. I decided to walk over to Kencom, but I was distracted by this chick who was the bomb. Her beauty filled my eyes and I was swept away. It was love at first sight, I had nothing to say. Being the boundaries that I am, I took control of my senses, and I remembered I should flee from all of my tendencies. Before I looked away, I saw another chicky girl. She had a full with jelly and deadly sneakers from Nike. Immediately I saw her, I knew she was the one. The sparkle in her eyes was better than of the sun. I was almost hit by a car while I was crossing the road. Too many chicks walking by, couldn't handle the load. From Isich to Dandoch, Buru to Uhuru, Lavi to Valley, 2-3 to 8B. They come from everywhere to this Nairobi, and Lord, I'm crying out, I wonder, can you save me? Like a million supus in the CBD, and like a million supus that my eyes could see. A million supus who would go out with me, only a few supus with the man JC. A million supus in the CBD, and like a million supus that my eyes could see. A million supus who would go out with me, only a few supus with the man JC.
So anyway, man, it was very...
So now is when Kenyan music, because you're the only gospel youth show in the country. So this is the first time now. So musicians, of course, have a platform. The Capital FM is not playing you.
No.
The kids will never play you. They've told most.
No.
So this is the first place they could play
We
you.
have young people doing gospel music. Pete released an album as well. I think it was called His Utmost. You know, that had songs like...
Is it It's a New Day?
No. I Pete released an album that year. I have to go through my music to remember some of the songs that were there. You know, but for young people who are doing music, that's, I mean, these are teenagers as well.
Yes, yeah.
So it was quite something, man.
I get it.
So RK as well, I met RK, and RK had a studio somewhere in town. So we started connecting, and RK and I started bonding. We became tight. We became good friends, Bana. So RK started doing some of his music as well.
Because RK was now an up and coming producer. Not even up and coming, he was producing.
He was producing music, but people did not know him much.
Because there's no platform for them to hear the hits.
No.
Or even hear the music, forget even hits.
That time Rafton was not even there, Henry Mutuku was not there. So we had very few artists, but there was this underground movement that was coming up. You know, of guys who had a passion for the gospel, but they were too hardcore in their flow. These are hip hop heads, you know, but guys who like Akina Kigada, Kigs.
Oh yes, Kigs. Hey, right now he's in I love the space that he's in.
Yeah. So those Kigs together with a couple of guys. There was a guy called New Child, Soul Child, Brian Soul Child. Yeah. You know, so Kina Soul Child started coming up.
I love the song that Soul Child did with Steve Ominde.
Yeah,
Soul Child,
Steve Ominde.
you know?
Remember, so Steve Ominde was also there in the gospel music industry. So basically, in 2001,
Steve Omido is the one who did the Henry Multuku.
na kuhitaji.
Yes.
Yes. So in 2001, we started doing street bashes. So I'd take my sound system and my decks, and then I'd go with all these hip hop MCs, and then we go set up in a parking lot, like in Buru Shopping Center. We go set up over there, and Circuit Manyake was managing a pub. He'd give us power from his pub because Circuit was a believer before.
Yes. In that group. What's
In
that
that
group called?
group.
What's it called again?
That group, you know
Oh,
yourself.
no, one. Anyway, I'll remember the name of the group.
So Circuit would give us power, electricity, you know, for us to set up in the streets in Buru and start freestyling, man. So I would play instrumentals for
From
guys.
your singles?
From my yes, from secular singles. Because we didn't have any gospel instrumentals.
Gospels, you're
man.
getting albums. You're not getting. There's no singles you're
There's
getting.
no singles, man. So I'm playing Dr. Dre singles, Snoop Dogg singles for these guys.
Instrumentals.
Roots instrumentals.
Yeah.
Roots instrumentals. And guys would flow to these tracks. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, man. Dun, 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 dun. I'll hook you up with those instruments so you can go ahead and play them over
Was.
here. So we play those tracks for these guys to start spitting. Alafu maze, guys would just come and surround us. Guys from the hood would just come and surround us, bana. And through this, would stop the music and share the gospel, and guys would give their lives to Christ, bana.
Yo. This was crazy. This was totally sold out for Christ. Yes,
Oh man. Those were dope foundational days. And I'm so grateful that I went through a season where I didn't have cash, but we had the opportunity to be able to share the gospel on platforms that many people would not have thought. Because this was a different kind of crusade. It was an urban crusade that's happening in the hood where young people are. So we'd go to Buru, we'd go to Madare in the ghetto, together with a DJ J. I also was in a group called .com, they were dancers. And so they'd go...
DJ J now who formed Sauti Awards.
Yes.
In the
So
States.
DJ J was a dancer at that time. And it was his hood, he grew up in Madare. So together with his guys called .com, you know, they go look for a street in Madare. And again, would make this weird stage, just a makeshift stage from wood. And, you know, would close the entire street. And the sound was good because we had subs and tops. And do the same thing. Packed street, man. And we share the gospel on that platform, man. The guys would come and dance. Ollovar would dance. .com would dance. So Ollovar were the bougie kind because they were doing hip hop and R&B. Was there a way to .com I mean would go with such songs like Yesu nakupenda na roho yangu yote, and I'm sure that lady Regina Modoni, those are the songs that they used to do. And they used to dress up with like funny dummies, you know, like Zangalewa band, those guys. And people would love it, man. And then would share the gospel and guys would give their lives to Christ. We went to Westlands.
What I'm hearing you say, the music was always the attraction for you to then share the gospel.
Music is our language, Richie. Music is our language. I mean, we can't stand and say that we're the best preachers, but the music was the hook. Music is our language. And when we play music, you know, and so that's why I celebrate whenever we have such great musicians like Akina Kambu and, you know, Akina Eunice Njeri. Man, I miss Akina Kelele Takatifu, but that's a story for another day. You know, whenever we had these platforms, Richie, I mean, it was amazing to see how music would draw people and give us the opportunity to share the gospel. So I think one time we went to Westie to do the first street bash, gospel street bash.
The simplest way you were at the GKs. Now you're
The
back
same
into
place.
that.
In fact, that was what was going through my mind. I was like, man, I used to mix in this place over here, JK's. Now finally, man, I'm going back to the same streets to do a gig in a parking lot. And the parking lot was in Westlands, next to Soin Arcade. So they gave us the whole parking, man. And that sound system that we used for Nairobi 2000 is what we were given to set up.
What? That was some heavy sound system.
Some great sound system. And this is where I met guys like Votaries, who were still in high school at that point.
Brian King, Pastor Brian King.
They're not even done emoji, but they were great. They were great a cappella group. So,
man, that was a good era. So we're talking about 2000, 2001, 2002 now.
Yeah. Now in 2002, this is now 2001, now we've started going beyond the schools, because we're still doing schools. If we did 5 schools a year, that was a great year, man. Hey, look, this year we've worked hard, man. Go to 5 schools. That's dope, man. So in 2002 is when we did, there was no gig to usher in the new year. And that's when Akina Kev came and they did their New Year's gig at Parklands Baptist.
2002.
It was 2001 getting into 2002.
But let me ask you, I have this memory. I had an option of going for a Shaggy concert, but after G21, I didn't go for that Shaggy concert. I went to Nyayo Stadium.
So that Nyayo Stadium was after G21.
Yes.
So we did G21 at it was a camp that happened at in Rongai.
Yes,
at Multimedia University.
Yeah.
Yep. Remember?
Yes.
So there was that camp, and that was like the best epic ever in our country. I don't care what people say. This camp had like 1,000 teenagers.
Yep.
And it was fantastic. Yani well organized, bana. And after it ended on December 30th, on 31st, we all congregated at Nyayo Stadium.
And what year was that? 2000.
That was 2000. That was 2000 into 2001.
Yes, it was 2000 into 2001.
Yeah.
So I went to uni in 2001. Yes.
We in January 5th, we did a gig, or January 3rd or January 5th, we did a gig with Milele.
First of all,
2 Love Weeks.
Even before we entered 2002, tell people about that G21 gig.
Oh man.
Because it was transformative.
The end. And I made some of my best friends at that time.
And again, Goi was there, and I remember seeing guys dancing. Were the guys dancing now all over?
Yes. Ollovar were
They
there
could
dancing.
dance.
Oh, those guys were crazy. What hizi routines wasiokuja nazo saa hizi, where they all copy each other. Those guys, they would go down on their knees and come up with such fresh dance moves, man. Such fresh dance moves. And that camp was for 5 days. And we have 1,000 young people, great energy, great guys who are coming to speak about the faith. We have believers and unbelievers. We didn't have publicity. Akina Goi came up with an idea. They said, all these kids from Bapo, and these are the churches, call these radio stations and just say, hey man, we're here and we're saying we're going for G21 camp. So the kids made noise on radio stations about the camp G21. So radio stations started asking, what's this G21 thing that's happening?
You guys are insane.
I mean, it was like a takeover on guys. It was like forced publicity, because now presenters were like, what's this G21 thing that's happening? So they started talking about it. The place had 1,000 teenagers. That's where I met Kaberere.
I was one of the teenagers in that thing.
Oh, wow.
And 18 days later, I was headed to uni to begin my university.
Oh, wow.
But you know who made me come for that gig?
No.
I was a producer at the time, and I was producing for a group called Jahim. And in Jahim, there was a guy called Manuel Jal.
And that's where I met Jal.
Yes.
At that G21 conference.
That's insane. This world is looking back.
You are a producer, Richie.
That I came for that gig because of Emmanuel Jal. I actually gave my life to Christ that gig, then I disappeared after. But at that gig, I remember what made me say on I'm not going to Shaggy concert, because I bought a CD. I bought 2 CDs. One had It's a New Day. That's why I said Peter Dere, It's a New Day.
Yeah.
And another one was a group called Milele.
Yes.
Forever. And I was like, and the production was quality.
They had Sonjolama. They had Milele.
Yes.
Ding, ding.
But they had another nice slow song that I used to like. But so G21 was also your introduction into this. I thought this was normal. This wasn't normal in the Christian circles.
Dude, I'm here just a year in the faith. I was just 1 year, 3 months in the faith, Bana. So, in fact, all these guys, actually didn't know most of those guys. I just knew guys of Ollovar. They're the only guys I knew.
That is insane.
And Goi, because I'd met him now.
Yes.
But the rest of the guys were all foreigners to me.
Okay.
But I made some solid friendships at that time.
Oh, in this season now.
At that camp.
Oh, at that camp
At
itself.
that camp, I made some solid friends. Solid friends, bana.
Like who?
So like
You said Kaberere.
Kaberere.
Okay, tell us about.
That's why I met Kaberere.
Were they Joksi?
They were, that time I didn't know about Joksi. So I met Kaberere. Kaberere was always easygoing, yani. And now because he would talk to anyone, including a tree.
Yes.
Kaberere came and man, he's just a likable person.
Yeah.
Bana.
And
He was
you're
in
such a
high
good
school at that
spirit.
time.
What?
He was in high school. I think he was just going into Form 4. He was in Form 3 going into Form 4. Man, we just bonded and we became boys.
And neighbors later on.
No? Yeah, much
Later
later neighbors. So I met Kaberere. And then Kaberere told me, you know, I was like, what do you mean? These are the same guys you keep telling. Same story, Maze. You know, same script, different cast. So he told me, you know, yeah, mi wasanii bana. Nakuwaga na group moja inaitwa Watu Chopo. I was like, what are these Watu Chopo? Kumbe they are guys from Dandora now. Akina Lena. And so it was him, Lena, and New Vine. So during that time, I don't know if they got an opportunity to perform on
New
stage.
Vine is the third member of Joksi.
The third
one
member
everyone forgets the
yes.
name. There's a comment I've been seeing. Who is this third member of Joksi? Thank you for telling me his name.
His name is New Vine. So the following year now is when I actually got to meet the whole Joksi.
So before that day they performed, but
I
they
don't
didn't
even
have
know if they
recorded.
performed. I can't remember them performing.
Yeah, but this is so this is though when you met.
That's when I met Kaberere. I don't remember meeting Lena at that time. I don't remember meeting New Vine at that time. But I remember meeting two people through Kaberere. First there was Kaberere, and then there's Nancy Kihenia.
Oh yes, yeah.
Because we're both in Aga Khan High School, and they were great friends. So, and I remember I used to give Kaberere such a hard time. I was like, you guys, why don't you just date Nancy Kihenia? No, she's my sister. I'm like, what do you mean, man? You guys, you both get along so well, but Kaberere had clear boundaries.
Yeah.
Oh man, I respected that guy, man.
All this happening at G21.
All this happening at G21.
And then now, what I want to just touch a bit on is G21 ends this amazing 5-day camp. Like, just think about that.
We've never been able to pull it off again.
That's what I'm saying. I thought this was normal, and I've never seen it again.
It was the first and the last.
And then after that, there was this amazing concert at Nyayo Stadium.
Yep. But that concert was not as big
as the
one for the year before. But it was still a great experience. And man, I remember being cold that night.
Now you're the DJ there.
I'm the DJ
there's
there.
no other DJ at this time.
I'm the DJ there. And I remember I made one of my dumbest moves that was actually a game changer for my life. Because I don't know, I'd actually gotten a gig. And Ollovar had given me a gig that December. She gave me a wedding for one of her friends. And so basically what happened was, during that gig, they paid me well. They paid me well for the wedding. The wedding was at Yaya Center. I was like, man, Christians know how to do good weddings, man. So she gave me the gig. They paid me well. And because New Year's Eve was coming, so I went and splashed 3 Gs on a pair of boots to wear on December 31st. Some Timberlands that were blue. Hey, sweetheart, how are you? So, and the reason why I'm saying it was such an eye-opener, I was like, I'll never do this thing again. Because you don't have much money, but because you want to please people, you go and spend all your money on clothes. And then you're broke the rest of the time. So because I went and spent 3 Gs on these kicks, I was like, ili wafunzo kwangu. And I have a shoe fetish, very Richie. My wife will testify. She's like, but the thing was, I was like, that was not wise. I'm a DJ, so I don't even have time on stage. I'm behind the desk most of the time, so guys don't even get to see these cool kicks that I'm wearing.
That's funny.
So, but basically what happened was, G21 doing the last event on that New Year's Eve was an anticlimax in the gospel circle. Because there's nothing else. But that's where Kev and DJ Josh came in with more sound to do JC's Groove.
The next year.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we enter 2002.
2002.
because this gig was December
2000
to 2001. Yes. So 2001 goes on. 2002 now. You've given us a bit of the history about this.
Yeah.
So what happens now? Njugu starts a show on. Okay, no, it's okay.
Oh, we need to finish. Niko na show. Sasa ngapi?